Alright, let's see. Laptop on, earphones. Okay. Good morning, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am. I can't hear you, ma'am. Oh, it dropped me out of the meet again. Okay, let's see. Current problems, internet issues, difficulty with communication, and the list goes on and on.
These are some of the problems encountered by both students and teachers during online classes.
The relationship between teachers and students has been strained with technical issues and distractions.
Join us at Kodakana Christian College for a Webonference on online education, current disparity in child psychological development and well-being.
It's on 23rd of September at 9:30 a.m.
Let's all get together and develop solutions for the teacher-student relationship online.
We hope to see you there. Alright, let's see. Laptop on, earphones. Okay. Good morning, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am. I can't hear you, ma'am. Oh, it dropped me out of the meet again. Okay, let's see. Current problems, internet issues, difficulty with communication, and the list goes on and on.
These are some of the problems encountered by both students and teachers during online classes.
The relationship between teachers and students has been strained with technical issues and distractions.
Join us at Kodakana Christian College for a Webonference on online education, current disparity in child psychological development and well-being.
It's on 23rd of September at 9:30 a.m.
Let's all get together and develop solutions for the teacher-student relationship online.
We hope to see you there.
It's unmuted. Participants.
Participant வந்து அந்த gallery.
backdrop बात करना Hello, am I audible now? Good morning. You have to tell me when to begin. నేను co-host add பண்ணிருக்கேன்.
A bright and warm good morning to you all on the other side of the screen. Every twist and turn on the road up the Korai Hills resembles every time life shocked you with an unexpected surprise. Well, 2020 is one such surprise. It has transformed KCC into an institution that builds leaders across the globe. Today, not just within its 40 acres, but it has spread its wings all over the globe. Today, I, Angel and Phoebe, take extreme pleasure in being your host for the webinar 2020 entitled Online Education, Current Disparity in Child Psychological Development and Wellbeing, held in collaboration by the Social Work and English departments. Today, we don't just aim to educate the minds of our young scholars, but to spark and make a difference in the society by the end of it. With that being said, I request you all to rise up for the college anthem, which will be followed by seeking the blessings of the Almighty God by the chaplain, Mr. Steve Babu Matthew.
Lord our God, you are. You have blessed us with KCC. We shall ever sing for joy as proud students of KCC. We live by clouds, we are perched above on paradise. East, west, south, or north we be. KCC binds us one family. Never to be served, but ever to serve. We live by clouds, we are perched above on paradises. When the KCC want to be a class above to enrich and edify us. Want to lead, we are born to lead. Yes, born to lead, we are born to lead. Rejoice, rejoice, we are born to lead.
Good morning. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day that you have blessed us with. As we have gathered here together, Lord, I pray that you be with each and every single one of us. As we have gathered here together to share in ideas, Lord, especially with the new normal of how things are moving forward. I pray that you be with us, you bless us with wisdom and with knowledge. And I pray that all of us will be able to share and learn from each other. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Let us now hear
Wonderful, so wonderful, the story cross the smoke and mercy over me. I have seen no ears, no heart can feel me, no. Glory
choir for the beautiful song. Now, we have greetings brought in all the way from 7,000 feet above sea level. He resides in the Princess of Hills, is the manufacturer of more than 8,000 leaders, and is the youngest of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, people from all states and nations, please put your hands together as I welcome the powerhouse of Kodaikanal Christian College, Dr. Sam Ibrahim, Chairman and Principal, for the welcome inaugural speech.
Thank you, Phoebe, for that beautiful words and welcome. Thank you for the prayer, Chaplain, and the song, Beautiful One I Adore. Beautiful one that I trust. And it's my privilege and honor to welcome one and all. What a joyful job I have. I'm able to see you all. In my faith, I'm able to see you all. This is the new normal, and we are here from 7,000 feet above sea level, but across the country, out of the country, we're able to connect and we are able to see each other. It is a joint privilege and honor to welcome. The list of people that I have to welcome is amazing, but I welcome all of you, every single one of you. You have a purpose today to be joining with us, so do not miss out the chance. Do not miss out on this day. There is something for you. You will be blessed. So it is to welcome, first of all the hosts and everyone. But I am so privileged and honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Nandita Krishna. She's a social educationist, writer, historian, environmentalist, social activist, and the list goes on. The awards that she has received, I'm sure there will be introduction, but ma'am, we are such a joy. I actually thank the coronavirus that has come through, that if that had not happened, we wouldn't have had the honor of having you to give this keynote speaker. You are the apt person to talk about the disparity, online education, current disparity in child psychological development and well-being by the Department of English and Social Work. I welcome you, ma'am. Students and others who are listening and the partakers, give a hand to ma'am welcoming her. There's many things, I'm sure, when they introduce, but the list of things that madam has achieved are so great. And I know that all the teachers who are participating are going to receive something to handle the students, handle the children. And even if you as a parent will learn many things, and we are going to be blessed by Dr. Nandita Krishna. She's got many awards, national awards. She's been in AICTE to UGC to many platforms, and wow, what an honor to have her with us. We also have Jen and Jenny Joroshenko, founders of they join us from the United States of America, and they are also in the field. They have been working among the family, children, so you are going to be benefited. And Ms. Pradipta Kadambari, principal of Kadambari Memorial College. Ma'am, we are honored from Nepal, all the way from Nepal, that you are joining us, and you will be giving different topics are given. Teachers, do not miss the whole day. You will be benefited. Dr. Ike Verghese, head of the Department of Social Work, BCM College, that is the lowest of all, I think. He is into General Secretary of Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers, Executive Committee member of India Network, or many boards and everything that he's going to be joining us with. Ms. P. Vinitha, government school teacher, but a role model teacher. When I had the privilege to say hello to her, I could sense the teacher that we experienced when we were going to the elementary and government schools that we went through. The teachers, the commitment, and welcome, ma'am, that we are going to have you also on the panel. Ms. Jayashree from Agaram Foundation. All of you know the actor, Mr. Surya. Her heart, actually, more than crying, it leads for young people, the underprivileged. Ma'am, we would be so honored to have you, as well as we would promise you that we will partner with you for the future in the days to come, that we will be also lending our hands to Agaram. If any deserving student would like to come to KCC to study, we will take care of them. They don't have to pay anything. Mr. John Pradeep, 10 years of experience in theater, schools, colleges. I tell you, he has trained more than 10,000 children and adults. We welcome you all. And I also would like to welcome our management team and the departments who are working. Actually, every department has given their best together. And I tell you, I will welcome the students at the end. And if I don't welcome the participants, it doesn't close up. Mr. Seshagri from the UNICEF, another person whose education, the contribution to the education is, so much. I'm sure you will be introduced. By the way, his basic degree is in mechanical engineering. Today, I want all of you to know, each one would start with something, but there is something inside of each one, and they have carried that on. They have landed where they are. So I want the participants, the young students, the teachers to identify the students, to lead them on what they have to reach out. On this note, let me say a few things before I close my welcome. Listed are some great, successful people. Those success and the greatness didn't come by chance, didn't come as an accident. It was not a luck. It was not something which fell out of them. Each one had to go their journey. Today, the participants, the panel people, the keynote speaker, all of them are there with a lot of hardships that they have gone through. I'd like to highlight a couple of things. There's nothing that you cannot achieve if you are willing to work. The students of today, it's ground zero. Opportunities are multiple. I want all of you to take hold of this situation and just send out your feelers. Get hold of you, where you belong to. Nothing can stop. The limitation will be only you. Break your barriers and move on. You alone can decide what you want to be. And if you're willing to work on it, you will. Take hold of the responsibility of your life. Then you will take control of your life too. No excuses. I know we are all good in giving excuses. It doesn't just, from Moses onwards in the Bible, everyone gives excuses. But stop giving excuses and stop blaming others. That's not what is going to lead you. That will only slow down from what you want to become. So give your best at what you are called for. Take a note of this situation and start working toward that. There will be challenges. There will be none of us have come through without challenges. There was nothing given to us by platter. I know there are many people who are starting their career now. I want you to take your goal, set your goal, start working on it. Even in the Bible, in the character, if you take David, Samuel, the prophet, comes and anoints him, but that day he doesn't take him to the throne, makes himself. There's a journey that he had to go through. If you take Joseph, the dream was given to him, 17 years old. In the history, there are people who have been made kings in 17. He could have also been made as a prime minister in 17. No, he had to go through a journey. So all of you, there is a journey for all of you. I want you to take hold of that. Take control of your life and you will succeed. There's always something to be grateful for. I'm grateful for all what God has done to me. When I was 22, I was in Canada and the US, I was visiting. And then later on, I went and I was there and I even did my own ice cream shop, arcade room, and life was getting very good. And then God said, go back to Kodaikanal. And today, I stand before you after 30 years of beautiful life. I'm grateful for God, for what He did. Many people have come and gone through this platform. So if you become grateful, your morning starts good. I want you to start your day good. When you're grateful, your mood sets it, your whole day your atmosphere will change, your relationship will change. So I want you to be thankful and grateful for what you are. where you are. Accept where you are. Start working towards where you want to be, and you will reach there. Follow your own path. Don't copy anybody. Don't imitate anyone. Follow your path that God has laid for you. Every single one of us have a unique track for our lives. It's not like the running race that everyone has their track. Yes, it is like that, but it is not the only one who will get the prize. Everyone has their destiny. If you do your job well, you will reach there. Don't have to copy anyone. Be brave. Don't put masks. I don't mean the today's masks, okay? Don't change faces. Don't change your character, your nature, according to the situation, according to the person, according to the place. Be you. You will achieve great things in life. Never stop learning about you and to work on yourself. When you start working on yourself, you will grow. Growth is inevitable. You will have to grow. Change is inevitable. You will have to change. Adapt yourself into the situation. Today, all of us, it's ground zero for the whole world. Everyone has been made equal. So take this moment and do it. So I stand to welcome every single one of you with folded hands. This is the new normal. And especially our keynote speaker and the panel people. I welcome all of you. Tomorrow, we do have Management and Commerce Conference. The day after is the Computer Science Webonference. I want all of you to inform your friends that it is worth joining, because this year, our topics are not based to become a more academic oriented. It is based on receiving it, lessons for life. So I want all of you are also welcome back. And I have to congratulate students of KCC, the faculty members, the departments, for all of them putting together their best to make this day such a grand day. People, more than 1,000 of them have registered all across the country and outside the country. It's a new beginning. It's just the beginning. More things to come. Thank you. Have a wonderful and a meaningful time. All of you. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir, for the fabulous opening. A guest with chief attached prior to it highlights the importance of the event. Our chief guest for the day, Dr. Nandita's prominence is not just confined to this event. Rather, she is a social activist for the voiceless all across India. To introduce her in detail, I call upon Ms. Ravi Rajkumari to take over.
Good morning, everyone. A historian, an environmentalist, an educationalist, and a social activist, and a writer based in Chennai, Dr. Nandita Krishnan, who has her PhD in ancient Indian culture from Bombay University, where she was also a Harris Scholar. She has been a professor and a research guide for PhD programs of CPR Institute of Indological Research, which is affiliated to the University of Madras. She was the honorary director from 1981 of the CP Ramaswamy Iyer Foundation and was elected president in 2013. She is the founder of its constituents, CP Art Center, CPR Institute of Indological Research, Saraswati Kendra, Learning Center for Children, the Grove School, Shakuntala Jagannathan Museum of Folk Art, and Rangamal Vidyalaya, which is in Kanchipuram, Sir C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer Memorial Nursery, Primary School, Kumbakonam, and CPR Environmentalist Education Center, which is run by the Ministry of, established by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. She is also the president of Kanchipuram Hindu Educational Society, Blue Cross of Kanchipuram, and member and governing body of Blue Cross of India. She is the editor of Eco News, Indian Journal of Environmental Education, and a publisher of the Journal of Indian History and Culture. She is the author of an N number of books, Groves and Gods of Tamil Nadu, Life Lessons from Mahavira, Mahabalipuram, Life Lessons from Adi Shankara, the Book of Avatars and Divinities, Hinduism and Nature, Sacred Plants of India, Sacred Animals of India, Book of Demons, Book of Vishnu, Madras Then and Chennai Now, Madras, Chennai, Its History and Environment, Balaji Venkateshwara, Ganesha, painted manuscripts of the Saraswati Maha Library, the arts and crafts of Tamil Nadu, the art and iconography of Vishnu Narayana, and the list goes on. I don't think it would be enough for us to talk about the things that ma'am has done. It would take another Webonference as a whole itself. Ma'am, we are so honored and privileged to have you with us as our keynote speaker. We cannot express our gratitude for you to accept our invitation to be with us. We are ready to learn from you, ma'am. You are an inspiration to generation. Thank you for thank you for being with us, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rebbe. I would like to start by thanking the Kodaikanal Christian College, especially Dr. Sam Abraham, Dr. Abe Thomas, and Dr. Rebbe Rajkumari for inviting me to speak at this web conference on online education, the current disparity in child psychological development and well-being. Kodaikanal Christian College, apart from being 7,000 feet above sea level and therefore so much cooler than hot Madras, hot Chennai, I envy you that. But you have also another bigger advantage. You have established your name and fame in the field of academic learning, and I am honored and happy to participate in this web conference. Let me start by saying that I have had some experience, because as soon as the Prime Minister declared the Janata curfew for one day in March, I knew this lockdown was coming, because I know the history as a historian. I know the history of the Spanish flu. And of course, we could not be as stupid as they were at that time. So I knew they would lock down. So the very next day, we started online classes in our schools for standard 9, 10, 11, 12. We had to, because especially our ISC school, if they had to do an exam, we had to prepare them. Then by June 1st, we started online classes in all our schools, including Saraswati Kendra, which is a center for special children, for children with autism, dyslexia, learning disabilities and problems. So we do not just teaching, especially for these children, we also do online counseling. And so I would like to start by saying that I speak from a certain amount of experience, of course, an experience which I have picked up along the way. I have absolutely no credentials, no IT credentials at all. Now I'll put a PowerPoint. Oops. Where? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Share screen. Okay. So can you see the India? So I hope you can all see the PowerPoint. Thank you. So at the outset, let me start by saying that there is no substitute for in-person learning. Every child must go to school. A teacher is not a mere conveyor of information. You can go to a library and pick up books for that. The teacher is a friend, a mentor, a guide, and a counselor. The teacher-child interaction is very important, and it is so important that everybody remembers long after they have left school and even till the end of their lives. I can even say that although I was much better in maths and science, I took up history because I had this fantastic teacher, Mrs. Anthony, in my school, who made us all love history. And in fact, the school was quite angry that every year children were going in for history who should have been doing science and maths, including my principal. She said, no, you're better at maths and science. I said, no, but I like history better. So it's our teachers who make us. And even now, she's passed away years ago, but I still remember her, and I'm sure you all remember your teachers. Children must learn to socialize, to make friends, and these friends will last them through life. They must learn to give, to receive, and to work in groups. So let me reiterate that there is no substitute for the classroom. However, having said this, right now we have no choice but to accept online education as the new norm. We all pray that a vaccine will be found soon and children can come back to school. But until that happens, they have to somehow manage online, which is the only source of learning. If a child is old enough to go to school, he or she is old enough to go through online education. Many parents and journalists and all say you shouldn't have online education. What is the alternative? It is a nation of illiterate and uneducated people. As it is, we are going backwards thanks to this pandemic. At least let's stop somewhere and try and do something. There are problems in online education. There is a disparity between schools which cater to the haves and those which cater to the have-nots. Education should promote equality and foster unity. Unfortunately, online education in India could create a divide among students, alienating the disadvantaged. Fortunately, Tamil Nadu has overcome this by making education a public welfare item. I think no other Indian state has made education into so much of a public welfare item. I say this because I'm also running free schools, aided schools, Kanchipuram, Kumbakonam, and so I know how much the government is doing. And poor children in government and government aided schools have laptops and tablets, along with many other benefits that the Department of School Education gives them, like free bags, all sorts of things that they receive, cycles to go to school, and so on. Apart from that, Tamil Nadu has dedicated many TV channels for education, including Kalvi TV. And I know many children living in remote villages who are studying through a combination of TV and smartphones. And when the parents don't have smartphones, they're going through TV. Now, I run a free school in Kumbakonam, totally free English medium. The children, we tell them, watch Kalvi TV. We've given them the books, the notebooks, and they follow Kalvi TV and they look at their books. Unfortunately, they cannot come to school because the government has not yet permitted them to come to school to work out their problems. But at least with the TV set and the books together, they are not sitting at home idle. So, for those with no access to smartphones, the solution is television. Every village has TV connectivity. I think Tamil Nadu and India, we may not have food to eat, but we can watch television. And some village houses have TV sets. If not, there is a common TV set in the village. Now here, I would like to recall the SITE project. This is very important. The Satellite Instructional Television Experiment, or SITE, was an experimental satellite communication project launched by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, designed jointly by NASA and ISRO. ISRO is the Indian Space Research Organization. It beamed educational programs by TV to rural India from 1975 to 76. It covered over 2,400 villages in 20 districts of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, and Rajasthan. One of the objectives was to impart school and adult education, train teachers, improve occupational skills, and improve general health and hygiene. While the goal was to educate the financially backward and academically illiterate, the project also helped India gain technical expertise and experience in the field of satellite communication. The villages were chosen specially for their backwardness. In fact, these 2,400 villages were designated as the most backward villages in India. All India Radio was given the responsibility of program generation. The SITE program had a strong impact in the selected villages and showed that India could make use of technology to fulfill socio-economic needs. To quote Arthur C. Clarke, it was the greatest communication experiment in history, and we as Indians can be very proud that it happened in our country. This led to an increased focus on satellite broadcasting in India, and in September 2004, India launched EduSat, the first satellite in the world built exclusively to serve education in India, especially interactive satellite-based distance education. SITE had an excellent impact on the chosen district. There were no problems of psychological development. On the contrary, it gave a tremendous boost to education and the use of technology for education. Now, what does the internet do? Internet, of course, provides a chance to develop the skills needed for the modern world, provides new opportunities for self-expression, communication, and information. It accesses without limits. It connects to the whole world and gives the child a feeling of belonging to a global community. But there is a fear. The fear is that time spent online could shut out skills such as reading, playing games, face-to-face interaction with the family. I mean, when we were young, there wasn't even TV. And I remember my children, when they were young, you would ask me, did you listen to the radio? Did you listen to the TV? And they couldn't imagine a world without any of these. It can also result in reduced physical activity, which is an essential part of a child's development and growth. It can also expose children to potentially inaccurate and harmful content. There is a positive association between internet use and social capital, but the potentially detrimental effects of online activity have prompted concerns among mental health workers and psychologists. We live in a digital age. Digital technology is a powerful tool, and if used wisely by educators, parents, and students, it can have positive impacts. Online classes at the primary level do have a positive impact on the students. I can say this, I'm a grandmother, and I sit with my grandson when he is studying, and he is studying very well. He's studying whatever in fact, if he had gone to regular school, we may not have been supervising what he is doing at home. But now we are seeing everything that he is doing, and we know the homework, and we make sure that he does his homework. So at every stage, even at the primary level, it has a good impact. I'm afraid the government of Karnataka made a big mistake by banning it for primary classes. And I'm happy that all the state high courts of the various states were approached, refused to stay it, and the Supreme Court also refused to vacate the stay. Children do not regard the internet as a separate entity. It is a part of their lives. Now, for all of us at our age, it is different. You know, I have to have my computer engineer next to me. He's sitting next to me. And in case something goes wrong, I just turn around and say, Mr. Vaidyanathan, please help me. But he is able, I see children, they're able to go in on their own. They use the internet for a wide range of activities. He says, press this, Tati, press this, press that. I don't know. My grandson has to tell me. The impact on their well-being depends on the quality and the type of their online activities. They adopt technological innovations before parents, schools, or policy makers can consider the long-term implications of technology. But this problem is exacerbated by the fact that internet content is increasingly consumed via a tablet or a phone. The The move to smaller portable devices makes adult supervision much more difficult than when the internet was largely accessed by a single family computer. Therefore, adult supervision of internet content by the child, accessed by the child, is essential. My maid at home, she has got both her sons smartphones. They're on the smartphones all the time. I ask her, ஏம்மா உனக்கு தெரியுமா அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க? இல்ல ஃப்ரெண்ட் பேசுறாங்க, ஸ்கூல்ல படிக்கிறாங்க. They say all that. Does she know? She doesn't know, and I worry about situations like that. There is a disparity in the child's psychological development and well-being. However, the inability to go to school and meet one's friends and teachers has caused a lot of psychological problems in older children. Many of them have come, parents have come and said, they are very depressed. My child is under depression because he or she is not able to come to school. Some of the children wear their uniform, come to school, just walk around to see the building, even if it's empty. Very young children in kindergarten, early primary school don't have this problem. They have not yet developed personal space and independence, and learning from home is merely an extension of their home lives. Now, NIMHANS, the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences in Bangalore, says virtual classes are not ideal for students below the age of 6. I don't agree. My grandson is 5 and he's enjoying it. The recommended screen time for that age group is just an hour, maybe. There are reports that internet exposure puts children at the risk of online grooming. Will children who get addicted to the internet and gadgets be able to develop interpersonal skills and, more importantly, people skills? On the other hand, UNICEF says a little bit of internet use can have a positive impact on children and young people's well-being, while the two extremes of not being online at all and excessive use can have a small negative impact on mental well-being. United Nations research has estimated that 3.5 billion people, or 47% of the world population, use the internet globally. And of these, 1/3 are under the age of 18. Today's teenagers have grown up with the internet and now spend more time online than they do watching television. Television was perhaps the big achievement for our age group. Nowadays, they think television is very backward. And almost all 12 to 15-year-olds, 98%, use the internet and 96% access it at home. This is not in India. This is in the UK. And the House of Lords in 2017 said, the internet is not just something children access when they want certain bits of information. It is an essential and intrinsic part of the world they inhabit. And I tend to agree because this is a new age. For all of us, it may be something like the devil or something, but it is not. The internet is as much a part of the lives of today's children as a paper and pen were part of our lives. So now the other problem is school teachers. Do they know how to use technology or to integrate technology into teaching? Because classroom teaching is quite different. Facing students physically and interacting with them is different from facing a camera and interacting with a virtual class. But it is amazing to see how innovative teachers can be when they don't have somebody breathing over their shoulder. Even without preparation time or training, teachers have made online education very effective. I'm amazed, and I'd like to congratulate all the teachers of all the schools who are doing online education because they have just transited so easily. Unfortunately, government teachers do not make the required effect, just as they do not make the required effect in classroom teaching. And again, I say this out of personal knowledge because I'm having problems in government schools where in aided schools, and they tell me that the teachers are not putting in their effort, they're not doing anything, so what do I do? So what are the advantages of the internet? provides new communication tools, email, messaging, social media, Skype, etc., which have the potential to increase the intensity of social interaction and decrease loneliness. I think that is very important because today's children not going to school, sitting at home, learning one child to one computer, are going through terrible depression because of loneliness. So the internet can break this loneliness. They increase the scope and intensity of social interactions, which are the strongest predictors of well-being. Those who are socially very interactive, we know automatically that they are happy, that is a state of well-being. Whereas we always say children who are morose and do not move with others, we realize that there is a problem child. It enables greater access to information. Children need not lose out a whole year of education, very important, and thereby lose learning skills. And the internet provides a chance to develop skills needed for the modern workplace. Because when this child goes to work, he's going to have to use the computer, the laptop, whatever, all the time. It also gives new opportunities for self-expression, communication, and access to information. Now, this webinar is possible. My conveying to you my ideas is possible only because we have this wonderful tool called the internet. But there are also disadvantages. It has inaccurate content, fake news, inappropriate sexual and violent content, which can damage a child's well-being. Pornography has emerged as a particular concern. Issues of body image and self-esteem are a particularly negative aspect of social media use, especially among girls. As it is, girls have a problem with the way they are hounded by ads for fair and lovely and, must be fair and beautiful and all. So this becomes one additional problem. Excess exposure could affect concentration and decrease attention spans in both adults and children. According to a survey by SP Robotic Works, there has been a 123% drop in concentration levels among children whose screen time doubled during the lockdown. High screen time has led to 100% increase in sleep order among kids. And unfortunately, children are less aware of paid advertising. When they see an advertisement, they don't realize that somebody is paying to put that information and ask you to buy that product, whether it is good or bad. What are the other disadvantages? Activities such as gaming, streaming, entertainment, gambling, all this could displace schoolwork. The current regime of self-regulation puts commercial considerations above well-being. Children do not understand how search engines work or how to judge the accuracy of online information. Internet facilitates access to online entertainment via television, as well as online sites such as YouTube and music streaming apps. While these activities can have positive effects to develop creativity and social skills, there are also negative effects such as addiction, commercial exploitation, and increased chances of exposure to inappropriate content. But I would like to say one thing here. Life is full of these challenges, of children being exposed to inappropriate content, negative effects. It is up to families to step in and help the child and prevent this from happening. Digital social networks are important. Why? Because they develop, maintain interpersonal relationships, provide information, news, advice, and social support, enhance friendships, and decrease loneliness. In this pandemic time, it is very, very important that friendships and decrease loneliness are maintained. Children's use of the internet is important because it is an important part of time use, and its effect on mental health and well-being are ambiguous. Children do not regard the internet as a separate, distinct entity. Rather, it is woven ubiquitously through all aspects of their life. That is the big difference, because in our time, um, my generation, the internet, the laptop, the computer, these are all achievements. Whereas for children, it is something accepted, a part of their life. So, social networks are the children's primary interface with the internet. They're connected to virtual social networks, and children are continuously receiving and checking feed. They constantly, don't you see them looking at their mobiles and so on, and regularly posting from their smartphones and tablets so that they are permanently updated. Social media use is a very important mechanism through which internet use can influence children's emotional health. However, children have a great chance of being the victims of cyberbullying. Older children, especially, go into deep depression when they are locked in at home. Social media helps them connect and keep satisfied that their friends are still out there. Older children are certainly at the risk of psychological issues. Online counseling is not a satisfactory solution, but there is no alternative today. How many parents would take their child to a psychologist for counseling? So let us see the positive side. Parents are therefore spending more time with their children and supervising the child's online study. This makes for good bonding and better exchange of ideas between parent and child. I'm afraid this generation of parents really left their children to manage on their own. Now they've gone back to looking after what their children are doing. If both parents are working, a grandparent or a relative should be roped in to share learning time. Now, what happens in rural areas? They say the children bunk classes. Child in the best school will also bunk if he can. So here, villages must nominate one or more person when the children are watching their program on TV, their classwork on TV. There must be somebody to supervise this. Do not demand excellence at classwork or homework. Let the child work at his or her pace. Motivating him is more important. Allow the child to express and explain himself through music, dance, art, etc. If he doesn't want to explain what is gravity as a scientific formula, ask him to draw it and he'll draw somebody falling down. There you are. It's far more creative. Very important is to maintain a routine at home. Just as children go to school, they have 40-minute classes and so on. At home too, the study time, play time must be very strictly maintained. And give the child his or her space where he or she can keep those things that are special memories. He's going to go back to school after a few months, I hope. At that time, let him have let him be able to tell his friends, see, I went there, I collected this flower, I collected that seed, or anything else. Some uncle came, gave me the special gift. Give him a box or something where he can keep all his special memories of this pandemic time. So what are the solutions? One is adult supervision. It is an essential part of internet use and online study. Parents must be aware of what the child is watching online. They can't say, I don't know, school gives something, something happens. Believe it or not, some parents say that. For this generation, the internet is a part of their lives and they know how to go in and out of it. Finally, dear friends, keep it easy. We're going through very difficult times. Parents, stay cool. Your children will stay cool too. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us such a wonderful speech. Now, let us move on to the question answer session. I would like
Question
to
answer.
request the participants who have questions to put it in the chat box. I would like to remind you to adhere to the subject while asking questions. So, ma'am will be answering the most relevant questions. If any questions, you can post it in the chat box.
Well, if there are no questions, I should say I'm happy. I hope I've covered the subject. So if there are questions, I'd be most happy to answer them.
You have given us a very detailed understanding how online teaching is impacting teachers as well as students, ma'am. It was very useful for us, and we got an idea of what the reality is right now. Thank you for that, ma'am. And if anyone else has any questions, okay, you can just post in the chat box now, or you can mail it to us.
Can't hear.
Ma'am, we have one question for you. How does one evaluate the students for learning and tests are being done?
Sorry, how does one?
Evaluate the students are learning and tests are being done online by online. How do we evaluate the students?
See, many schools are giving online tests. It's quite possible that the parents are answering the questions. Now, it's up to the parents. See, that is where I said for online learning, you must have adult supervision. So somebody must make sure the child is listening, watching, asking questions. And if there is a test, make sure he answers the questions. So this online, just as in class, you have one teacher who's supervising 30 to 40 children. At home, you have to have one adult at least. That's why I said if it's a village community, they can have one person supervising a group of children, a whole community of children. But if it's at home, it's even better. It's one-on-one. Nobody has more than one or two children. So it can be supervised. This has to be done at home because it's if the teacher sends a question paper, parents answering it and sending it is ridiculous. And not doing it at all is even worse. So parents have to make sure that the child is understanding. That's why I said the solution is adult supervision. There has to be somebody with a child. If both parents are working, India, fortunately, we are still a community where we have families and grandparents and uncles and aunts. So rope in one of them. I'm working too, but I take off the morning to help my grandson because my son and daughter are both working online. They work out of home now. Okay, somebody has said, 1 minute.
We have a question for you. How do we reduce the negative impact of the internet?
Negative impact of?
Negative side of online classes.
Negative impact of, sorry?
Negative impact of online classes on children, ma'am. How do we reduce the negative impact?
Why should there be negative impact? The negative impact is if the child goes to the computer saying, I'm going to do online class, and instead goes away to other inappropriate sites. So the only way to avoid that, come on, a person who can afford a laptop or a tablet generally can afford to keep somebody there to supervise his child. Somebody had asked what to do about workers' children. Yes, that is a problem. Now, many years ago when I was in Bombay, I was working with a group. I was doing a little bit of honorary work with a group called Mobile Creche. And these were children of construction workers where father and mother were both working and the children were running wild. So what we insisted was that after all, they used to come as a community, a whole group from one village, from Andhra to Bombay to work on a construction. So we said one person, although we were there and we could have done the supervision, but we wanted them to also take responsibility. So we said, you appoint any one adult in your group. So they appointed one woman who supervised, even if we were teaching the children. I said, what the child is learning and whether he is learning should be supervised. How do you know I'm not teaching them something that's wrong? So please supervise. So in every community, they can dedicate one individual to supervise a whole group of children. So the only negative impact can come when there is no adult supervision.
The next question is, ma'am, how do you suggest parents manage children who are not interested in online classes at all?
See, a child who is not interested in online classes is not interested in classroom classes either. So, how do you do that? For that, I have Saraswati Kendra, where we have children with school phobia and things like that. So, a child who is not going to learn is not going to learn anyhow. So, you need counseling. That is what they do. We have psychologists, counselors, therapists who handle these children.
The next question is, can online activities that encourage mobility be done?
Yes, we teach the children yoga. We have PT, all online. And believe me, they are far more popular than the classes of English, Tamil, maths. The PT master is the top favorite. Yoga comes second. So the children are, in fact, I think they are learning more PT and yoga than their books. But it is possible.
Yes, ma'am. The next question is, monitoring students in virtual classroom is really difficult. How do we handle that?
I go back to what I said. It's adult supervision at home. So how can the teacher, I mean, if you are the teacher, you don't know what your students are doing at home. So at home, there has to be somebody to monitor them.
Yes, ma'am. In the case of daily wage workers, who will supervise the child? It is impossible, ma'am. What is the option for them?
I told you, in daily wage workers, they generally live in communities and they must dedicate one person to supervise the children. I have done this. I mean, I'm not just talking off my hat. Many years ago, maybe over 50 years ago, in construction sites in Bombay, where we were teaching the children, we insisted that one woman or man from that group of workers should be dedicated to supervise the children. Because supposing I'm teaching 10 children and one child runs away, because those children, they lack concentration. So somebody has to make sure the child who cannot concentrate is also pinned down. So, I mean, they can do it. One person has to, and what we did was we made them work out what each person's salary was and how much that one person who was losing an income should be paid by the others. So say there are 10 people, each person getting 100 rupees, and of that one person is not. So that one man or woman's 100 rupees is gone. So from this 900 rupees, they have to give that 100 rupees to this one individual.
That is such a wonderful scheme, ma'am. It was nice. So, ma'am, the next question is, what would be your advice for parents to handle adult supervision staying away without tipping his or her trust towards parents?
Can you repeat it, please?
What would be your advice for parents to handle adult supervision staying away without hitting his or her trust towards the parents? They're asking how to handle the supervision without tarnishing the trust of the child on the parent.
Well, that's where the child and the parent have to be good friends. The parent has to explain why he is doing this, why what he is doing is important, and that he is not suspicious, but It is part of this new normal. Say that because you're not in the classroom and the teacher cannot help you, you may suddenly need help, and therefore I could help you at that point. That bond has to be developed between the adult and the child.
Thank you, ma'am. The next one is, in Kodaikanal, three girls committed suicide because the father could only provide one mobile phone. How,
Sorry?
in Kodaikanal, three girls committed suicide because the father could only provide one mobile phone. How do such people approach and get government benefits?
Well, that's very sorry, and I'm very sad that this happened. Why did they not try Kalvi TV? Because there are community TV sets. I'm sure Kodaikanal has its community TV sets too. I think you have to do a little more research on the full story. Maybe they were three sisters or siblings fighting over one this thing. Where a lot of this is also parent-child interaction. Parents would probably give it to the eldest child, explain to the others that he or she is going for his finals. I think there has to be a lot more parent-child bonding to get over such problems.
The next question. What can parents do to help with the homeschooling of their children in current crisis?
In
Homeschooling of their children in current crisis.
everything, what can they do? They have to, I think that's what we've been talking about. And the parents have to sit with the child and help them, see what the child is doing, supervise it. And if the parent thinks the teacher has to be approach the teacher. You see, the parents' role in this homeschooling, that's why it's called homeschooling, because you're schooling from home. What choice do we have? Are you going to drop a child's year? Are you going to say, okay, 1 year, no studies, have fun, do what you want? I think that would be a disaster. Either you send them to school, which you cannot do, or at home you help them out.
Next question is, online classes, is it good for us? It can affect our health. What should we do?
Look, online classes have to be held for a limited time. Excess of anything is bad. There is a Sanskrit saying, mitam karve panditaha. Whatever you do in moderation is, a wise man does everything in moderation. So similarly, if you do things in moderation, if you're going to make the child work from morning to night, that's definitely bad. So look, there's no beginning and end to this. What is the alternative? If it's bad for the health, don't study. If that's your choice, that's not mine.
So we have another one. What is your suggestion to reduce physical and psychological problems for children? Some children get body pain, eye problem, and the list goes on. How do we manage that?
See, a lot of families, the 1 or 2 hours the child is online is not going to harm them. After that, the child is watching television the rest of the day. Stop that if you can. So if you do that, you won't have eye problems and so on. I'm a writer. I sit on the computer from 10 a.m. to about 11 p.m. More than 12 hours a day. Yes, from time to time I get up, I walk, I do eye exercises and so on. But if you go on, anything can affect your health. Reading books. I got glasses because I read too much. When I went to my doctor, he said, you read too much. I said, doctor, if I don't read, I'll commit suicide instead. I have no life without reading. So, everything has a health hazard. Too much exercise has a health hazard. If you exercise, look at all these athletes who work from morning to night. Finally, they do get a lot of problems, health issues. So anything in excess is bad. Anything in moderation is good. That is all I would say.
The next question is, the writing skills of primary school students are getting vanished because of online classes. What is your take on that, ma'am? The writing
Yes, writing skills must be there. That is why I said parents have to be there. I sit next to my grandson, and his writing has improved so beautifully. He writes so beautifully today because I am supervising every subject. Now, if some adult in the family does it, it works. Anything, even in class. You see, you have a class of 30 children. Half of them are just left to themselves. Half of them, parents take care of their homework, watch what they are doing. Those children do very well automatically.
we have one more. What about the role of media during this time? The role of media during this time, especially in connection with adolescents.
Especially,
Adolescents. How does it affect the transition from blackboard to touchscreen in research work?
see, if the I really don't think the media should come into this at all. And I don't think children are watching news. They're not very interested in news. So I don't think media is an issue. They should not give negative uh, images all the time. All these questions which are coming up today are because of the media driven reports. It's bad for your health, bad for your eyes. Of course, everything is bad. If you read too much, it's bad for your eyes. If you watch too much TV, it's bad for your eyes. Does the media say stop reading newspapers? Does the media say stop watching TV? You hear all these people shouting at each other every night. Why don't they say switch off your TVs? Don't watch, it's bad for your health. So I would not take the media into this at all. We're talking about learning. So the media should just say go and study. That's all.
For that answer. The next one is, do you think the students of rural community are really gained by this online education channels?
Sorry, do you think?
The students of rural communities are really gained by this online education channels? What would be your suggestion to work on it?
Well, I can tell you that I know one boy in a very remote village in Tiruvannamalai district who is studying online. He is quite happy. The family is very happy. He's living with his grandparents. The grandparents are supervising him, and he's got very good marks in his tests in computer science. Another boy in Kanchipuram district, a rural, not Kanchipuram, sorry, Tiruvallur. He's also, Tiruvallur. He's also been doing online study, and he's been doing well. See, as I said back to the beginning, adult supervision. Where there is supervision, they do well. Where there's no supervision, even in regular schools, when there's no adult supervision, children don't study well. So you have to have supervision. I mean, all of you young people are going to become mothers and fathers. Let me give this as my message to you. By the time you all get married and become parents, God willing, this pandemic will be over. Please, supervise your children's education. Don't expect it to drop like manna from heaven. It has to come from you. You have to make sure the child is studying. What Dr. Sam said earlier is very valid, that God takes you up to a level. After that, you have to go further. And if you are interested in your child going ahead, take him ahead. If you leave him and expect him to do everything, it's not going to work.
One final question we have for you,
Okay.
ma'am. So, can you suggest some tips for stress management, both for teachers
Sorry?
and students? Can you suggest some tips for stress management for both
Yoga.
teachers and students, ma'am? Sorry.
I would suggest yoga as a very good form of stress management. Pranayama, breathing exercises, certain amount of meditation. Believe me, children do it too. My 5-year-old grandson, I've taught him how to shut his eyes and just say Rama, Rama, Rama and meditate. He can't, of course, do it for half an hour. He does it for about 2-3 minutes. But I think that's very good for calming. Take him, let children, adults go and see some greenery. Greenery is very good for your health. See plants, just look around you, the beautiful world that has been created for us. That is enough to conquer stress. Of course, if it's very bad, you may need online counseling. There are several counseling sites. So you could do that, or if you know a counselor, you could go. But I would just say, learn to enjoy. In Kodaikanal, you have gardens, you have greenery. You should be telling me how to control stress. I'm living in a big city. So you have everything to get rid of stress.
Thank you, ma'am, for that beautiful answer. This session has definitely made us more educated and inspired than we were in the morning. I extend a huge, heartfelt thank you, Dr. Nandita, on
Thank
behalf
you.
of everyone whose ears were blessed by your speech. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
now I now invite Professor Minu to give an announcement.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the active participation. Thank you, ma'am, for everything that you have spoken. I come before you to make a small announcement. This is a last-minute announcement that we have. One of our panelists from Agram Foundation won't be able to participate in the panel discussion because of some unexpected crisis they are facing right now as a foundation. Sorry for the inconvenience, but we will definitely have their participation in some way or the other. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Over to Jennifer, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Anand Agarwal, an education innovator and founder of edX, said a few years ago, online education is the rising tide that will lift all boats. In the present scenario, the statement has attracted even more attention. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the panel discussion on Blackboard to Touchscreen. We have planned for a total of 5 sessions in the next 1.5 hours. We shall have a Q&A time at the end of every session. The participants may pose their questions in the chat box, and due to some constraint, a time constraint, the panelists will try answering the most relevant questions. Our first panelists are Jed and Jenny Jurchenko, founders of iThrive 320. Jed and Jen Jurchenko have over 2 decades of combined experience in the helping professions. Jenny is a school social worker, and Jed is a marriage and family therapist, children's pastor, psychology professor, small business and writing coach, and author. They are authors of numerous books on parenting relationships and hosts of the Thriving at Home Summit. Jed and Jenny have 4 amazing daughters and are foster parents to 1 more. In their free time, they enjoy hiking, camping, relaxing at the lake, and simply being together as a family. It's an honor to have you as one of our panelists. Over to Jed and Jenny Jurchenko.
My name is Jen.
And I'm Jed. And what we're going to do in this presentation is we'll introduce ourselves how COVID has impacted schools and education in the United States. And we're going to do this introduce ourselves. And then we'll talk a little bit about how COVID has impacted schools and education in the United States. And we're going to do this in two ways. We're going to start by talking about how it's impacted our family personally. So we're going to take that smaller, kind of under a microscope view. And then Jenny, who works at the school and is experiencing this hands-on every day, can take that more global perspective and let you know what's happening inside of the schools and the classrooms and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so we're really excited to dive in. Just a little bit about us. We live in Minnesota, in the US, and we have 4 daughters and 1 foster daughter. So, 5 kids right now, going through school right now in the US during a pandemic.
Yeah, so for us, school started, has it been 2 weeks now?
Yes.
So we are just getting started with this new school year, and we're right in the middle of it. So you are a social worker.
Yes, I'm a social worker at the school. So I teach groups of kiddos with social, emotional, kind of behavioral, and mental health needs in our school system.
And I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and that's where some of, I think, our unique skill set's going to come in this presentation, because we'll talk about the educational piece, but I know near and dear to our heart is that social, emotional relationship piece too. And that's where we're seeing big, big impacts in the kids, is it's not just impacting them educationally, but also socially, emotionally, and with their friendships and relationships. And we know that those are so, so important. So let's dive in with our family and talk about some of the changes for you and I as mom and dad, and then for our 5 kiddos.
Yeah, so we have just dove into this new school year. Like Jed said, we just finished up week 2 yesterday. So just a little bit of time under our belts. And here's kind of what school looks like for us. We had all of our kiddos in public school systems last year. Because of all the changes this year, we actually are homeschooling our youngest 2, who are a little more difficult to balance change with. So we decided personally to kind of keep them home, and we've seen that kind of across the board on that more global perspective, that homeschooling rates here in the US have increased. I think the last I saw, they had tripled in numbers. Families just deciding to go ahead and keep their kiddos home. And then we have 3 students who are middle school aged in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And right now they're in what the US is calling a hybrid model, which means they go to school every other day. And on the days they're not at school, they are on their computers. So their teacher is there with the other half of the class. And they are live streaming the class. And so our learners at home are logging on just as at the same times as if they were walking to class. They log in at the same time, and they watch their teacher live and teach the class.
Yeah, so let's talk about what this means, first of all, for parents. And let's do a before and after. Because last year, before COVID, we would wake up, we would do breakfast together, kind of a scramble in the morning to get our kids out the door. But the bus would come to our house, it'd pick up our kids, take them to school, and then drop them off afterwards. And a lot of families here in Minnesota were doing that.
Yes.
All right, so now we wake up and the bus comes to our house
every other day
for 3 of our kiddos. 2 of our kiddos are here all of the time, and you and I both work.
Yes, full time.
So we are scrambling to keep up. And I think we're kind of where a lot of families are, where we really are trying to juggle more than ever before.
Yes. I think what we see, and probably what you see, is a lot of adjustment at more of the micro level, the family level. And so families have had to adjust and change multiple times in the last 6 months or so, to being home, to being partially at home, to navigating, well, I have student learners who are at home, but I had to go back to work now. So what does that look like for our students who are at home? So lots of different variables around, how you navigate that, and changes in schedule, changes in expectations. And one thing that we know is that this year, the way that we start school is not the way we will stay in school. And so what that means for the US is that as we monitor numbers, COVID cases in our individual communities, we adjust our learning models based on if the numbers are low. We have more students than in-person learning. As our numbers start to rise, as they are in our home community right now. So we're watching carefully because more of our students might be coming home to a hybrid or a complete distance learning model here in the next couple of months. So what we know is that we have to adjust constantly this year. And to make it more complicated, if we as a family were to be exposed to somebody with positive COVID, even though classrooms are still in person, our family might be at home remotely learning until we're allowed to return to buildings. And that would be true for me and my job as well, that I would be remote teaching until I'm allowed to come back into the building. So lots of different moving parts this year, lots of required flexibility from students, from families, from admin and teachers. Everybody is having to be very fluid and able to change.
So I think you answered that question well, because we were asked 3 specific questions. One of them was, how's the pandemic affected education in the USA? And I think you just summed it up in that last one, which is everybody is continually having to be fluid and change. We don't have a solid, stable, steady model for the year. So socially, emotionally, relationally, that's adding a lot of stress to everybody.
Yeah.
And we know that stress causes people to do funny things. One is coming in stressed out. The kids are going to feel that stress too. And then I like to use the phrase, people are a lot like spaghetti. Everything ties into everything else. In psychology, we'll use a big term called biopsychosocial. So, when our psychology is off, when that stress level's up, it affects our biology. Our breathing becomes shallower. It's hard to pay attention and focus. And it affects our friendships. We're shorter, we're snappier. Talk a little bit about that and what you see in the classrooms. And
I think we see that across the board, both students and adults alike, right? We know that this is a time of chronic and often traumatic stress for a lot of individuals. This was a time of prolonged isolation for a lot of people, which is extremely stressful. We are created to be social beings. We like to be in contact with other people, even people who are introverted. You do still crave connection with other people. So prolonged periods of time where you're in isolation are very damaging to people's emotional, social, and mental health. And so we see the ramifications of that in our student learners right now, and spending a lot of time as teachers and staff in the school helping kids relearn norms and how to be in school under the new safety guidelines, how to manage some of their anxiety around getting sick or family members getting sick. I had a student come to me and a lot of concern and worry for his last year's teacher. She maybe didn't appreciate, because he said, well, she's so old. And so she maybe didn't appreciate, but he had a genuine worry because knowing her age might make her more vulnerable, and students are trying to navigate their worry for their safety, for other people's safety, and also their desire to be back in community with people. We also see for teachers and staff who have been under stress because we are biologically predisposed to reject change, right? We don't like change. Change is unknown, which makes it inherently dangerous, right? And so even small changes, even good changes, we are often resistant to. And this has been a year where we've been over and over and over again, sometimes multiple times a day. We're changing changing expectations and rules and models on them, because the more stressed they are, the less they're able to regulate their students and care for their social, emotional, and mental health.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those changes, because that was our second question we were asked, which is, how do we adapt? And it feels like we're continually adapting as far as technology. That got put on fast forward. Homes without internet very quickly had to figure out how to get internet, and the schools helped with that.
Yeah.
But there's online learning in, I would say, nearly every home now, because we had to adapt that way. Students are spending more time on Zoom, on tablets. I think we crashed a couple Zoom systems and had times where the internet went down.
Crashed.
Yeah. So the good side, though, is that kids are becoming more technologically advanced.
Yeah, they're becoming quite technologically advanced, and our school systems have really improved and adapted quickly to that change. We are learning how to better engage students. I would say when we first started, we really lacked the engagement piece, but we are learning quickly. It is far from perfect, but we are getting there. And it's really been about finding opportunities in the challenges. Okay, we can't bring in kids in person, so how do you build relationship and connect with a student that you only see on the screen? How do we get creative and reach out and bridge those gaps so that those students can feel connection, because they can't learn if they don't feel connected. And so that became a big priority in the school, was finding ways to reach out, to just be present, even from a distance. And we are extremely blessed, so blessed, because we have the ability to put those technology pieces in place in order to bridge the gap. But we also saw lots of car parades and really creative ways that the community was reaching out and finding connection while maintaining safety distancing.
Okay, so you said car parade, and that's a fun one. So let's dive into that. And that happened at the end of last year. Yeah. So normally for our graduating seniors, there's a big ceremony. There's walking across the stage, getting the certificate. One of the ways we adapted is obviously that's a big crowd. We can't bring the crowds together.
Yeah.
So instead of doing graduations, our town did a car parade.
Yeah.
Basically, every senior and their parents paraded through the town. Families like ours came out, which was actually pretty cool, because for the first time, our younger kids saw the high schoolers, the seniors, thank you, graduate, and whereas they're clapping, cheering them on, and really getting in kind of their own educational future. So I would say that's one of those good and positive ways of adapting. Now we're getting near the end of our time. So what are the biggest challenges? What do you think our biggest struggles are in the future?
I think coming forward, knowing that we have to change and knowing that there's so much we don't know one of our biggest challenges is preparing ourselves for this, preparing for the long haul, and really making sure that as adults first, we are taking care of our health, our emotional health, our mental health, that we're really practicing that self-care piece that we talk a lot about in professions. You give so much of yourself to help other people, and so you have to be practicing the self-care. And I think while we know that, during times of chronic stress, it's the first thing that we lose, right? We stop doing the things to take care of ourselves. So you cannot give somebody something you don't have, right? And our students who are experiencing a lot of difficulty and a lot of disconnect, and I think a lot about like our students who have underlying conditions and it's not safe for them to be in school, and so they are full-time distance learning, and are pretty isolated in that way. Making sure that we are prepared to take care of them and have taken care of ourselves so we have something to offer them.
Love that. Yeah, I would say that self-care piece is huge. And then really just being in this for the long haul. I think finding a new normal for schools, something that's steady, would be our hope. I know for us as parents, that's the biggest challenge, is things keep changing, and every time the schools have to adapt because of COVID, our family has to adapt. Guys, thank you so much for letting us be a part of your web conference and to share with you guys. This was a lot of fun and an honor for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jed and Jen, for sharing your experiences and learnings from these experiences, discussing the challenges, and giving us tips on how to adopt to these changes. I'm sure all of us would take home your ideas and tips as we leave this meeting. If the participants have any questions, any queries to ask these panelists, to ask Jed and Jen, please put a message in the chat box. If you have questions, please put a message in the chat box. So we've got a question from Zareen Babu. In the US, children are given a combination of classroom and internet education, where assignments and future classroom topics are sent to children on the net. Do you think this would or should be the future after COVID? After COVID is over, since the teachers have learned this new method and it helps parents stay involved. Would it be possible in remote villages in places such as India, or will everyone go back to the classroom teaching once this COVID is over? Can I have Jed and Jen to answer these questions? Okay, there's some issue. They are not live, so we'll not be taking questions now. Their contact would be given to you, so would be put in the chat box. If you're interested, you may mail them. They definitely respond back. Thank you. Now, our next panelist is Ms. Pradipta Kadambari, the principal of Kadambari Memorial College. Pradipta Kadambari is an educator with 12 years of experience in teaching master's and bachelor level courses in science. She has a master in science and master in international family studies. She is a founding member and now head of Higher Educational Institute, Kadambari Memorial College of Science and Management in Nepal. She has served as the Chief Executive Officer of Nepal School of Social Work from January 2013 to February 2018. She is looking after the development of a social work program at KMC. She teaches and trains social work students in different courses and contents. She's a psychosocial support trainer and also a researcher. She has been a research coordinator and researcher in collaborative research with various universities and monitors projects of different non-governmental organizations in Nepal. and she's a resource person to NGOs in parental rights and inclusive education. She heads the international relationship as well as the research center at KMC. She is the initiator of university and community engagement activities of the college. She has also been appointed as Senator of the Poobanchal University Senate. She has been convener and chair of various international conferences and presented papers in different international conferences, and has her research publications in social work education and practices. We are excited to have you with us, ma'am, and looking forward to hearing from you. Over to Ms. Pradipta Kadambari.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today. Can you hear me well?
Ma'am, we can hear you well.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to share my screen, and it's really nice transitions. It's like continuation from Jane, the couple, talking about this transitions times educations in USA from a social work perspective. So what I'm today going to talk about is also aligned with the social work's norms and my experiences in teaching, especially in social work, parental care, and then psychosocial support work. So I'm talking about online education in Nepal. I see this as a coping the crisis. Many of us say that this COVID is we are on the same page. I like to put this as we are in the same sea, but we have a different boats. So we are in a different boats so that our contexts are different, our resources are different, so our coping mechanism would be different. When crisis happens, usually the way is we look for resources, and that resources for the surviving, coping, adapting to the change or to the situation. So it's biological, our health, well-being, our physical resources, economy, finances, social networks, and all. What I also like to put it here is like in coping mechanism, there are three main coping mechanisms. One is if we can solve the problem, we have to find, when we find the root cause of the problem, we solve it. So finding the root cause and solving the problem, that's how we cope with the crisis. Next one is normalizing, trying to bring the routine back to the normal situation so that people started feeling a normalization and the stresses will be de-escalated. And third one is, there are many times the things are like that we can't go back to the root cause and we can't change. At that time, we adopt, we accept the situation and then move ahead. So we change the perspective on the crisis. And that's what I feel is happening here in COVID is we can't really change, go back to the root cause, change the root, but we have to accept this and we have to find new alternatives. And here I'd like to share you the theory of change of Kurt Wayne, who presented this theory as a change in behavior, which is related to both our personal characteristics to the social situation in which we find ourselves. So our social situation is the physical distance, and for that, we also are changing to the new normal. So there are three stages of the change that Kurt Lewin sees. The first one is unfreezing. When we look this into the education scenario, I could find it like we have to change our perspective on the problem, making that possible to let go that contact classes is the ultimate method of teaching. When we let it go, then we find new alternatives, and finding new alternatives in that process is one very important thing, is bringing regular activities back to children's life so that they feel the sense of normalization. And that's where online education is coming up. And there are other models of educations also coming up in Nepal. The second stage is changing implementation. After unphrasing, we move ahead. So moving to the change, changing our thinking, our feeling, so that our behavior, we can see that in our behavior as well. So here, the online classes, how it started in Nepal is it started with a small session with the children, getting them used to the new way, new normal. At the same time, the schools were training their teachers. And one thing is, since the situation is new, this is learning by doing. So everyone is learning as things are progressing. And when there would be like a substantial understanding of how we can move further, I think then he says this as a rephrasing when the change is established as a habit. So there would be a system development and continuation, and at the same time, reformations. So looking at the theory of change, I see in Nepal, this is a Nepal's transition to a change, how Nepal is responding to the change, especially in education. The lockdown started in Nepal in 24th, but schools get closed by 29th of March. By the mid of April, some of the private schools in Kathmandu, especially Kathmandu is a city and there is a lot of access, there is a quite good access of internet. And the private schools started their online classes with a short session. Then there is a contradiction. The talk came over like the digital divide and inequalities that it's created with the have or have not. Then in 8th May, there is from government side, there is an instruction coming to nation is like no private schools or community school can enroll their students, and they can't charge fee during this lockdown. If the private schools are conducting their online classes, but they can't charge any fee, then there was a chaos. Like from private schools, we could see that from in the community school or government schools, it was not started, but private school has started to find or looking or trying the alternatives. And then they were also into a shock. So there was some conflicts with the cases, and then negotiation happens with the government on how private school can carry on the online classes. But in by 15th May, government prepare a guidelines. It's a student guideline of alternative learning, which is announced to implement in 15th August from Education of Ministry as Students Learning Facilitation Guideline 2020. Alternative system started. And from 11th September, on 11th September, the government also authorized provincial government to look into a different component of that, because the guideline has come up with 5 special different criterias looking at the context of the different places, different schools, and different resources. So if we have to see at the map of or assessing the digital device accessibility to the Nepalese student, this is a very primitive. I got it from some newspaper because still this is a very early to have all this data. So there was one survey in Province 3, that is where the Kathmandu capital is. It shows that 30% of students are with the internet access. And 12 out of 600, that is 2% of schools in Kathmandu or in this Province 3, they have a mobile cell phone with them as a device. And there was one survey in a western part of Nepal where it's only 6% of students were shown to have internet access. But looking at the Nepal context, 85% of Nepalese all over the Nepal, they have access to radio. FM radios are very accessible. They are working in community FM radios, or radios are working in different communities, and 72% of Nepalese in access to television. And mobile phone is pretty high. The mobile phone of the Nepalese people is 4 out of 5. So that also gave Nepal government to prepare a criteria and prepare different models of alternative education. So the alternative means of learning in the guideline is, the first one is children out of access of all kind of technology. The government has grouped them into 5 categories and one special category. The second one is children with access to radio or FM radios. Third category is children with access to television. Fourth is children with computer, but no connectivity. And fifth is where the online education can be accessed, is children with internet and equipment to access to the technology. And those who are not falling into any of these categories are put into a special category. And now there is, from this, looking into this 5 category, children are being ready to be taught by radio, by television, and online materials prepared by Government of Educations and also online educations. So this is very recent, and all the provincial government and the in local level, they're preparing to start this alternative education. When we talk about the impact of online education and children's well-being, there is alternative or learning guidelines which now also have emphasized the involvement of family as facilitator, and that's what Madam Nandita was also telling. Family, someone has to be there to facilitate the home learning process. I would like to present it as a triangle, which when children, we're all focusing on the children educations. Now I see the interdependence of the different stakeholders of children, the teachers, parents or guardians, and I also could see, I also feel that school management is also very important. Especially, this is a new ways, also new alternatives are coming. The school management has to understand this, and there are always issues of how many fees the private schools can charge, how much they can give, how much they can provide the education from online. So that's where the management, teachers, and guardians, they have to work together for the children's good education in that alternative way. And in that here, I would like to talk about, I'm also a mother of, my child is studying in grade 7 and one is in 12. But many times I have seen in grade 7, especially for the grade 7-year-old, grade 7 son, the school started online, it's a private school, and it started online classes for 1 to 2 hours. And this started with having a meeting with the parents or guardians with us. There are many parents who were actually denying, like this could not be the model to teach our children. We can't go to the curricular activities now. It is more stressful to our children. And that's where I like to put into the importance of the role of parents. Many of us say that the home is the first school. And perhaps when children go to school, then we forget that home remains school forever as a side schooling of the children to make them functional social beings. Its role doesn't disappear or doesn't stop when children go to school. So I feel like that's why the parental guidance at this moment is very important. The children are looking into the parents, teacher, and the school as a model to cope and adapt to the situation. So that's why I think it's very important for parents, guardian, and teachers to work together for children's well-being. I this is psychosocial intervention pyramid that we use in the disaster management intervention, but I still see this very relevant here because the children, when they are into online education, into the digital appliances, we could see different layers of it. The basic services, as we see, is accessibility to the internet, equipment. This is also a home environment. It also depends on the class routine, how the class routines are prepared, giving children some time to exercise, be fresh, coming out, how lunch times are, breaks are put into this. This also makes a lot of difference in contributing to children's well-being. And here, especially the supervision from the family or the schools is also very important. So I basically like to emphasize on the importance of the conversation and how class is going, because children, they have to understand the situation is a crisis and we are in process of coping and adapting. So this has to be talked at home from school sides so that children understand that they are into a change process and they become more ready for this one. The second one is the community and family support. This is especially when they work together, it's a peer group work, parents, teachers meeting, psychologists and social workers session to the students is built that supports from outside of home. This built, though it is online digital platform, but digital community support feelings will be there. So I like to present there like a neighborhood conversation on how we are coping. We should be talking about social stigma that COVID-19 has brought to the people, because it's very fearful to children, and how we can work with that and how we can move further with this kind of social stigma. Third one is, as we said, there were some questions, like some students feel headache, some feel eye pain, some were feeling a little bit of stress. That is where we have to be very careful on some of the students who are getting this kind of thing. And we have to identify these students or these children and get help at appropriate time so that it doesn't become a specialized problem. It can be solved when it is in the non-specialized labor. So that's where I find the importance of school psychology, social work, having some sessions with children online as a routine or something from class students, and then counseling with psychologists or any other specialized support that the children can give. That should be provided at that time. Like if it's an eye problem, then probably our doctors. If it's a other kind of health issue, it can be solved at that time. So that's where assessment of spatial problem and designing focused support can be carried out. And then only we have a very small number of children who might have problem with distress or not able to cope with the situation. Then we have to get them to a psychiatric or spatial assistance from teachers or from home. I think this is still very relevant here in online classes. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the digital divide and inequalities. This is what we can hear long time. I have been listening to this and we've been having this conversation. It's creating inequalities. For me, what if we look into this as differences and we acknowledge that differences, because we know that one size doesn't fit for all. We are a very diverse country. In Nepal, we are very diverse countries, and there are different situations and scenario geographically, by distance, by resources. contexts are different. So one size never fits for all. So that's why I'm feeling these are the differences. If we respect that differences, acknowledge that differences, probably we can contribute to the well-being of the children. And that's where I feel like that social emotional learning, which is happening to children and adults, to everyone, can we look into that from a curricular learning perspective, rather than looking into and finding that curricular learning is very important. This is what the student should be doing, this much of math, this much of science. What if we look into and we change our perspective towards the emotional, social, and emotional learning that a person is getting, the child is learning at this moment. Because lack of acknowledgement of this life learning to the children, we are creating that feeling of not having to those who are not into online classes. And that's where I think that we can't say that children who are studying in online are only getting the ultimate learning. The children who are not getting that, but coping with their current situation, working in farm, probably getting into another knowledge. They're different knowledge, but children are learning. So there is need to acknowledge the social emotional knowledge, the attitude and skills that they're developing, which would be very necessary to both children to reach the potentiality in their life. So for me, education is why we educate, why we are into education is to make our life easy. And that's what I think there is no loss if children are not into online education. Because in crisis, the impact on child's or adolescent psychosocial being and their ability to learn is what is important. And if it is into a positive way, that is a learning. So for me, the important is children are thriving the situation, dealing with the adverse effect of negative life events, increasing their concentration, improving their behavior conduct, and contributing to a more positive attitude towards their life is a learning. So their performance in the grades, in curriculum, we might not get, but we can see their growth in their, we can see they're performing by means of their growth. So what I here like to tell is we should be acknowledging that learning and then providing guidance from the parents, from the teachers who are present at this scenario, looking into their capacity, their evolving capacity. So this is what I think, and it's a question like instead of curricular exam, what if we assess or we examine our student in terms of their coping, their resilience, and their adaptation to change at this moment. So changing inequalities to different qualities and changing employability to adaptability. So I like to finish with a question like, can we change the narratives of digital divides to the different qualities? Thank you.
Thank you, Pradipta ma'am, for sharing very comprehensively about Nepal's response to online education. We could clearly see your love and passion for teaching and for the students. I'm sure the educators and the policymakers here would have definitely got inputs from your talk. Thank you once again, ma'am. There are a few questions for you. The first question is from Harini, who has asked if online learning is better than face-to-face learning. Harini, she's asked if online learning is better than face-to-face learning. What's your take on it, ma'am?
I feel being a social work educator, face value is the ultimate value. We are human beings. Yeah, we are not robots. So face interaction, face learning, in my opinion, is the best because we also exchange emotions. Yeah, while we and that is where the teachers and students bonding happens as a human building a human relationship. But since this is a crisis, we have to, this is an alternative. If you ask my preference, I still feel the preference of a face-to-face learning when things would be normal. But when things are not normal, then we have to move somehow. And online is one option. Yeah. It's not.
Thank you, ma'am. That was.
It's for a time being. It should not for a long time. Yeah.
I quite agree. Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is from Claren. She is asked, what are the initiatives the government of Nepal has taken in imparting online education to the school children? What initiatives did the government of Nepal take?
The initiative is like this, the preparing of the directive, the guideline, because it's very, very comprehensive. So they have 5 categories, and in 5 categories also, there is how the children are categorized. It's very comprehensive. So that way, it's in the paper. And that's why we, all the educators, always worry about things in the paper are very good, in the book are very good. But when they implement, there are lots of problems. So we have to see how these things are going to the implementation. But what I know is in a city like Kathmandu, the private schools have taken that initiative, and its online classes are going. In some area, the FM studio, the radio, the children are, because most of the Nepalese have the mobile phone. Now the children are using this mobile phone to connect to the FM radios. And there are lots of very nice pictures of the children tuning the FM radio and then working in their copies and notebooks. So this is one of a very effective medium at now. And the teachers are like, if it's a local teacher, so one science teacher is doing one time, another science teacher is doing another. And that is also a collaboration happening. Then there's teachers in the community. Yeah, this is.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure educators here in India would also take some ideas from Nepal. Now, last question for you, ma'am. This is a question from a parent. Kindly give us your views on accessibility of gadgets. If there are more than one child at home, and if they have classes at the same time, so how do we manage that? What would be your advice for parents?
Yeah, this is really difficult because I talked about having resources. In the crisis situation, resources is our equipment, but many times we don't have that. In Nepal also, it's like one computer at home, one laptop, and then the classes started and people started looking for the mobile phone. And suddenly the mobile phones purchase increased so much in the valley. So this happens, and I could see this as a restrictive, restriction to the access. What I can suggest parents is, if possible, because it's going to be a long, we don't see that it will be over in 1 or 2 months. Earlier, we guessed that we expected it will last only 1 and 2 hours. 1 and 2 months, but now it's going for a year. So we have to somehow manage to get that another equipment to another child, since they can't be. And if we don't do that, probably we can cut other expenses somewhere, because one child is studying, another it is not studying. There is a divide. So at home, probably we have to manage that one. If possible, we can borrow from, we have an extended family. And I think for the grannies and all, they would be happy to give this to a grandchild for a moment. So we have to see where we can get that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. Thank you very much once again. Now we'll move on to the next session. Thank you, Pradipta, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have with us Dr. Aip Varghese, the Head Department of Social Work, BCM College, Kottayam. He dons various roles with ease. He is the General Secretary of Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers and the Executive Committee member of India Network of Professional Social Workers Association and coordinator for National Webinar Series. He is a subject expert for higher secondary syllabus revision of SCERT and advisory board member of many institutions. He is the director of Childline Kottayam and the Secretary, BCM Outreach Joint Action to Strengthen Society. We are delighted to have you with us, sir. Over to Dr. Ike Varghese.
Good morning, everybody, and respected Sam Abraham, sir. My colleagues in this panel session, I think P. Vinida, Mr. Sheshagiri, Nandita Krishna, and my friend Pradipta and Jayasri, Jed and Jenny. Good morning to all of you. I think most of the points have been covered because the situation across the world remains almost same. But still, there can be differences area-wise and region-wise, country-wise. There is that is without doubt we can say. And my presentation, I will just share one PPT with you. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in my presentation, I would like to cover a brief history of online education, maybe across the world, and a brief history of online education in Kerala, and further to online education during COVID-19, then most likely, the community support for this online education and some of the concerns that still remains. So these are the areas I would like to cover. This is a glance to history of online education. See, presently, the online education is termed as an extension activity or the upgraded activity of correspondence education. And correspondence education started in the Western countries a century ago, more than a century ago. And as far as this online education is concerned, this was started practicing in 1960 in University of Illinois. This was by linking the computer systems, intranet, and giving access to recorded lectures. And Electronic University Network in 1984. This was indeed before the World Wide Web. So this was another initiative. And the computer assisted learning centers in 1997 was used. This was by using internet. Okay, and the California Virtual University itself was started in 1997. So this is a great leap, we can say. And see, there was a special journal started, a journal of asynchronous networks that deals only with this type of online education. In 2009, 5.5 million students worldwide were taking at least one online course. And the present system in many of the universities are a flipped classroom model or blended model, whatever we say. And that is the practice now. Now means even before the COVID. And presently the definition of online education is electronically supported learning that relies on the internet for teacher-student interaction and the distribution of class materials. It is also known as e-learning. We are familiar with this. And now let's go back to the definition of or the goal of education. See, if you look into the Western definitions and the definitions by the Indian philosophers, Mahatma Gandhi, we can identify a lot of concepts within this one. So it may be emphasizing physical and mental development of child, character development of children, enjoying the love and affection from their teacher as they stayed in the teacher's family. That was the Gurukulam system. And stay together without any discrimination means making them fit to live in a society in a secular world, and to all-round development of students, facing challenges of life and make students more strong. This is some of they have taken out from at least 200 definitions, these few points. If you look into the net and all, we can find all those definitions. Now let's see the education system in Kerala, or where Kerala stands in the education. As per the 2011 census, the literacy rate is 93.91%, and the national average of India was 74%. And the latest report that is released 2 weeks before, it says that the literacy rate is 96.2. Actually, this is based on a national sample survey by National Statistical Office. But this is very fresh one. And the total number of schools in Kerala is 12,644. Out of this, 4,504 are government schools, 7,277 aided schools, and 863 unaided schools. Out of this total number of schools, 6,817 are lower primary schools, 3,037 upper primary, and 2,790 high schools are there. Now, when this online education was started in India, in Kerala, that's important to understand. Launch of IT at School project that was started in the year 2001-2. Okay, that means nearly 20 years before. And EduSat operations and broadband connectivity to schools, that was part of this project. And Victor's channel, operated by IT at School, was the first complete educational channel in the country itself, in India itself. And see, this IT at School provided ICT infrastructure to 4,071 schools during 2007 to 12, in that 5 years period. This was by using centrally sponsored ICT at a school scheme. What I want to say, actually, in Kerala, Kerala was not jumping into the COVID situation all of a sudden. So it was rather, we can say it was much prepared well before COVID. And in 2016, IT at School reinitiated the ICT intervention in lower primary and upper primary sections by launching exclusive IT textbooks with Kalipatti and E-Vidya. These are some of the initiatives of this IT at School project. And 1.5 lakh teachers from standard 1 to 12 has been empowered with the ICT skills, enabling them to transact their subjects more effectively using ICT tools. So it was a multi-dimensional approach. That means equipping the schools to avail these facilities, and expanding these facilities to the schools, and also giving training to the teachers so that they are able to handle the system. Because at least all the senior teachers, they have not even learned computer in their school days, or they have not studied. So this is a new item for them. So they require training for this one. So the government has taken care of this one and addressed this issue by giving training to 1.5 lakh teachers. So this is not a small number. And another milestone in this process was Kerala infrastructure of the Kerala infrastructure technology for education, that is known as KITE, and that was started in 2017. That means the earlier project IT at School was renamed as KITE, and under the banner of KITE there has been again further many programs. One was open online learning, that is titled Cool, an online general tool to impart training and courses to teachers, students, parents, and the public. Anybody can join there. Anybody can register in this particular portal and take classes. So there is provision for registrations, submission of assignment, communication to course mentor, everything, all these facilities were there. And I remind you, this was before COVID. Okay, so somewhat a preparation was already on. To convert the entire system into an online platform. And now this particular presentation is dealing more with the school system only, online system, because in the university system, especially in the higher education, this online has been practiced for the last at least 10 years from now. We're using the Moodle classrooms, then Google classrooms, all those things were in use. And in the school, when the COVID started, the first thing was the closure of schools, we know. And there was a concern that how the classes will be taking place when the school starts. So initially government has taken up a survey that was by the state's general education department on May 10th, and by that was survey by teachers and all, and they have contacted all the families, all the students' families, and they found that 2.61 lakh students in the state did not have access to online classes. Now, again, so government started functioning. We will come to that after some time. So this was the main project. That project itself was titled First Bell. First Bell. And every year the classes start on June 1st. And this year also. And in the midst of COVID, the online classes have started on 1st June itself under the title this First Bell. And this, what was this First Bell? Like the students were to attend their classes via Kerala Infrastructure and Technology Education website. And all the lessons through that website, if the people are unable to access the website, everything was broadcasted through the television using Victor's channel. And the timetable was given, the timetable was published in newspaper, and everywhere it was available. And during that time, in almost all the houses where the children study, so the TV channel is only the Victor's channel. Okay, and one of the question raised is, do all the students in the state have the means to access this lesson? And the main reason for this thought is a suicide case that has happened on June 1st itself. Means on the first day when the school opened, one girl child committed suicide. Means she was unable to access to the classes online. So that was the reason. So then the court intervened. Means the court has received many complaints, and the court, after studying everything, they have observed that the state government has taken adequate steps at present to safeguard the interest of the students. That was one thing. The court has appreciated the efforts of government. And the court, at the same time, they have indicated on Article 21A, the Constitution of India, where every children is given free and compulsory education at the age, in the age of 6 to 14. And also that again mentioned in Right to Education Act 2009. So the court told the government that not even a single child should be left out in this online education. And the government should make periodical inspections and verifications throughout the state to ensure that every child participates in the online education process. So anyway, this was only a direction, but the government itself was active in this one. And how the system again progressed further. If you look at this table, you can see on 1st June, means earlier there was the survey on 10th of May where we found more than 2.5 lakhs of children do not have access to online system. And that was reduced to 1.5 lakh on 1st June. And on 8th June, it was 42,412. And on 11th June, it was further reduced to 17,774. Again, on 13th June, it was further reduced to 2,800 children. Further, it was reduced to 872. The date is not known. And on 18th June 2020, only 89 students throughout the Kerala, throughout the state of Kerala, was not having access to online system. That was addressed later in different way. And how this was achieved, that is the important and the interesting story. The involvement of social workers, alumni groups of schools and colleges, residential associations, youth clubs, religious organizations, politicians. The message was in the Facebook and WhatsApp was full of the requirements for these children. One child required a laptop there, a tab there, a mobile phone there, and the people were contributing like anything. So it was really a very good campaign that brought the community together. And I mean, other things like wherever these facilities are not there, government has ensured that the children are attending schools. Like even the computers were taken out from the schools to nearby places like Anganwadis or Share centers or libraries and all, where few children came together, sat together, and they have attended the class in some places. And these are some of the remote learning facilities were provided like this, where the children were, I mean, uh, kept by, by observing the directions of the government, by maintaining the safe distance and all. And the government also directed the MLAs, because all the MLAs have got their local development fund. So that can be utilized for purchasing TV, laptop and for students. And states, local self-governing bodies like panchayat, village panchayat, block panchayat, district panchayat, all were involved in this activity. The first priority has gone to the education of the students. And one another benefit is that almost all the villages in Kerala have some common facilities. It could be either Anganwadi, it could be a club, it could be a reading room, or something like that. So those places were utilized for setting up the classrooms. And all the schools, like teachers of government and aided and private schools, all were given charge of this type of setups. And one special thing that we need to mention is in the Wayanad districts of Kerala, there is largest number of students without access to internet facilities. Okay, so such centers have provided facilities to 9,200 children in Wayanad district. So this type of facility was created and the children were brought to this type of centers for their education. And laptops, projectors and TV sets have been taken from the schools to the common centers. So there was different challenges during that time in the social media, like tablet challenge. Another club may be starting a laptop challenge. Another residential association may be starting a smartphone challenge. So all these challenges have ensured that there is no children in Kerala without such a facilities. Now, considering the the definition of education that we discussed in the beginning of this particular session, some concerns rise, right? Like that concern can be brought, addressed to that concern by the teachers or the schools, the concern by the students, and the concern by the family also. So I have brought it in these dimensions. First of all, the concern by the teachers is the entire family is watching the classes. Entire family is watching the classes because the parents are also attending and they're judging the classes, they're judging the teachers. So that was one concern for the teachers. Insufficient digital infrastructure that is applicable for teachers as well, not only for children alone. Then one of the beauty of our real regular class is the interaction with students. And once the teachers are missing this type of interaction, they cannot get any satisfaction. I'm also teaching in a college. Every day we used to just see outside the college without any students. No education institution become an education institution without students, because the entire campus is empty except for few staff just roaming here and there. So the interaction itself is missing. And we know that the teachers are giving personal attention to many of the students. Those students, they are missing that attention, personal attention. And preparing online materials and vetting by principal. So this is another challenge that the school faces, because every teachers, they are preparing the classes, and in the schools they have to teach almost all the hours together in the schools. So they have to prepare n number of online materials and hand it over to the principal for vetting, and then the principal will only allow. One second. sorry, actually the preparing materials and vetting by principal, it was a Herculean task. That for the, actually the headache was for principal more, because all the teachers will be submitting the material and he has to vet all the things. Without his approval, nothing can be posted also. And attentive, not attendance. Actually, attendance was a problem, but in the normal situation also, we can see attendance will be around maybe 80 to 90% in the school. But attentiveness of students, that is very important, because most of the time what we see, the students join the class, they switch off their video and they go off. Okay, so when we call the students, even in the, it happens in the college classes also. When we call the students, they're not available. So every time we may have to call the students with some or other reasons to in order to ensure that they are attentive in the class. And producing content without context. So because online classes cannot be that. I mean, we cannot. The examples we produce and the real life situations we narrate, all the things may be missing, because the classes time is also limited. If otherwise we take 45 minutes during this online classes, the classes are limited to 30 minutes or 35 minutes. And field programs and lab, especially in the higher education, even though I am talking about the school education, they are also having a lot of field programs, and all those things are missing. Lab facilities are missing for the colleges also, and conducting exams is another challenge. Because online examination is very difficult. Sometimes the family members, they help the children, and again network problem, all these things are there. And for students, limited social interaction, group activities, their play is missing, their extracurricular activities are missing, and likewise the overall development, it is affected. And the infrastructure issues with the students, even though they may have a laptop or mobile phone, the power supply facility, or if 2-3 children are available in a house, sharing of a room and other space, everything is a challenge. And health issues means continuously, if you are watching into a program, online program, or watching a screen, then that is also leading to a problem. And the suicide cases have increased in Kerala. Till July, there were 66 cases of suicides by school children, and now it has crossed 100. That's what the figure says. Another concern that is by the family society is leaving children alone at home. If the parents are employed and they cannot take more leave, so they are leaving the children alone at home at their liberty and freedom. So that's a challenge. And some of the people have left their job, either mother or father, they left their job for looking after the children at home. Then the misuse of children by internet. So I need not explain all these things. The change in lifestyle of students, if the schools are there, every day they get up at a particular time, get ready, get the things prepared. And of course, there is an order in the lifestyle. That order has gone. Many times we can also see the students are just getting up and coming to the classes. So those things, that is affecting a lot, actually, if not now, later. And the economic issues, even the parents are facing difficulty because they may not have proper job. For those people, it affects the payment of fees and all. Then the teacher's family, even now, my son is also attending his class in the next room. So sometimes my wife is also a teacher. Sometimes we both are teaching and both of my children are attending the classes. So in a home itself, it's a typical situation. If I raise my voice a little bit, my wife will say, please reduce your voice. So like that. So, this is again another situation in houses. And I have already told you about the high suicide rates. And recently, Kerala Child Rights Commission has given an order that the classes should not exceed 30 minutes. Even in this situation, many schools were having the classes continuously from morning till evening, and even in holidays also. That was a real problem for the students. So addressing this issue and considering this issue by the Child Rights Commission, they have given an order. And see, I cannot conclude without saying at least a word about our social work education, because it has been really affected. The main challenge is field work and the skill development activities. There are many other challenges. I have just mentioned only two. Even now we are thinking how to complete the third semester fieldwork, where they have to learn or practice the main methods of social work. So this type of things are really affected. The lab facilities are affected, also, and entire practice things are affected. So but at the same time, if you ask what will be the future of education, now we cannot go further without online classes. There are certain merits also. Once we prepare something and upload in the YouTube, the students can access it any time, any number of times they can listen to the classes. So that is one benefit. But at the same time, the actual learning and internalizing, whether that is happening or not, is very difficult to measure. And all the problems, whatever I have mentioned, the students are facing, that is applicable in the social work sector also. Now, with this, let me conclude. And of course, we have to be prepared for an online situation even after the COVID period. Though the world order will be a different, the education, regular classes will be surely there, but at the same time, it will be a flipped classroom or a mix of online and offline methods. There is no doubt in that. So that time, what I visualize is it will be more beneficial for the students, because they will be able to access more to the stuff available online also. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I congratulate Kodaikanal Christian College for arranging this conference, and especially choosing this particular topic, which is very relevant in the present. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure we all enjoy learning about the history of online education and the status of online education in Kerala. Thank you very much, sir. Since we do not have a lot of time, we'll just take one question right now. A question to Varghese, sir. How could we teach efficiently analytical skills through online education? This is a question from one of the viewers in YouTube. Is it possible to teach analytical skills through online education? Is the question, sir. Over to Varghese, sir.
Oh, it may be a little bit difficult, whatever I say, because the overall skills, whatever the skills be, developing the skills are different. That has got limitations. But at the same time, what methodology you utilize in your teaching? Okay, sometimes what I used to do. That actually the teaching is not taking place. Teaching should not take place. The students have to learn. I am talking about the higher education. The students have to learn by themselves. So what we do, we will give the topics for tomorrow's discussion. So let them, they will come prepared, and they will share their ideas, and they will ask us the doubts. So the faculty is for facilitating. The faculty will clear their doubts, and that's how the learning should go on. Okay, but there are limitations, as you said. Entire skills cannot be, it's very difficult to ensure that they'll be attaining all the skills.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that was a very beautifully answered question. Thank you once again. Now we'll move on to the next panelist. Thank you, Varghese, sir. Teachers are the architects of the nation. Next, we have a very inspiring teacher, Ms. P. Vinita, who works as government school teacher in Hindu Coronation Middle School, Madurantagam. She is known for her very interactive style of teaching. She has associated with Kalvi Tolaikachi, imparting online education to students in Tamil Nadu. We are very eager to hear from you and learn from you, ma'am. Over to Ms. Vinita.
Hello.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Hello, my dear ones. Good day. How are you all? Hope you're all doing good. This is Mrs. Vinita, BT Assistant in English. I'm working as a teacher at Hindu Coronation Middle School, Madurandagan, Chengalpet district, Tamil Nadu. This is one of the golden opportunity, and it's my great pleasure to say about my school and my student daily activities. I have always feel that the true textbook of the pupil is his teacher. Quote by Mahatma Gandhi, an excellent teacher, an inspiring role model, a perfect mentor. During in our classroom activity, moreover, my guidance with friendship, discipline, love, protector, everything in daily learning with my students. Always enjoying in learning. Our students were enthusiastically participating and attaining the goal of knowledge in subject. Teaching is a very noble profession that shapes the character, caliber, and future of the individual. Let's see the videos of my classroom activity.
How are you all? I'm also very fine. Today we are going to learn what are the best qualities in our life. Okay? Do you all have best qualities in your life? Yes. Okay, you have to show your attitude one by one. Okay? Welcome.
ஆம்பிஷன் குறிக்கோளுடைய ஆனஸ்ட் நேர்மையான கேரிங் அக்கறையாக விட்டி மகிழ்ச்சியான ரெஸ்பெக்ட் மரியாதை ஜாய்ஃபுல் மகிழ்ச்சியான பொலைட் பணிவான இமேஜினேட்டிவ் கற்பனை உள்ள லோயல் விசுவாசமான humble பணிவான patriotic தேசபக்தியுள்ள giving கொடுத்தல் loving அன்புள்ள confident நம்பிக்கையான affectionate பாசமான I am leader தலைவர் cheerful சந்தோஷமான self control சுய கட்டுப்பாடு kind அன்புள்ள ராஜிக்கல் பகுத்தறிவுள்ள
Second, please display the second video also, Sorry. Please display the second screen, the video. Every challenge opens up a new opportunity in social distance period. Online education is the rescue. Every teacher has to learn technology in education. present generation is more handling technology innovatively. The nation is under lockdown, schools are closed, but online teaching learning is on. The teacher of Tamil Nadu making utilized most meaningful manner. And this is the tough times, but most especially challenging for government schools. Most of the students are in remote area. So the government will have to strengthen our technology to make ensure a most structured online home teaching. And in this pandemic situation, the right technology required 21st century learning. Being a government school students, there is a financial backwardness of the student. Government provide all books, notes, dress, free education too. Our students cannot afford to buy good qualities of smartphone or laptop, which is a necessity for the online educational system. This would enable us to face the challenges of digital education better. Our Tamil Nadu CM has launched the Kalvi Tolekachi TV, the first television in the world to be produced by educators. It provides lots of benefits for the students during the COVID-19 pandemic. The lessons in Kalvi Tolekachi will be telecasted for 2.5 hours daily from Monday through Friday for the classes 1st to 12th. Students who are unable to watch the channel can watch the video lessons in pre-recorded on YouTube. In Play Store also app available and timetable of the classes displayed in newspapers and all resources. Diksha, MHRD, Minister of Human Resources Development, Government of India, to empower teachers in the digital environment. Teaching aids like concept videos, lesson plans can be accessed easily, upload educational resources created by them for the use of students. And also teachers upload their videos in YouTube also. It is one of the largest source of digital learning materials. And then TNTP, Tamil Nadu Teachers Platform, even in offline mode also is working. This portal provides curate standards aligned e-learning teaching, learning, practice resources, videos, interactive simulation, online quizzes, training models, and many more. E-resources, which means the platform provides a heterogeneous collection of e-resources which consist of curated, standard aligned videos, interactive simulation plans, and more. And then digital textbooks, grade-wise e-textbook repository for teaching community. And then question banks. Question papers are chosen for each grade and subject catalog chapter-wise. Contribute. Platform for teachers to submit their own content and share it among the teaching community. And then forums, a platform for teachers to discuss and share their learning among each other. Teacher professional development platform provides for teachers which they can undertake for their professional development. Effectively handling online education as simplicity is a key. Tasks with few instructions often lead to the greatest amount of heart. That means higher order thinking of the student. Record videos instead and send them to your students so that they can watch in their own time. Show teacher face are effective than simple narrated slideshows. Teachers made their videos by themselves. And then videos longer than 15 minutes. And also we have to encourage our students to use communication tools. And last but not the least, I record my Heart thank to organizer for patience hearing, and it's pretty sure that a great chance to participate in this wonderful event with Kodaikanal Christian College. Thank you to the principal, chairman, all the faculty and beloved students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your ideas and opinions. Every challenge opens up a new opportunity. Thank you for letting us know the reality of the situation now. So since we have less time, we will be taking just one more question. If the participants have any question, you can just let us know. If there's any questions, you can let us know, everyone.
So you're asking or
Ma'am, if there's any questions in the chat, I will read it for you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm waiting here.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We have one. There's one question, and it is, what is the role of online education in the COVID-19 epidemic times?
What are the, pardon?
The role of online education in the COVID-19 epidemic times.
We are doing the recorded videos. Did you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Yes, probably we are in a Tamil Nadu government system school education. So we are doing a recorded video to assess, to see the students. Not probably we are using online teaching classes. Our Kalbi Tolekachi, their instance, and then YouTube, like that we are preparing. And we are recorded.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the answer, ma'am. Thank you so much for the interesting session. It was very useful for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I take the privilege in introducing the final panelist, Mr. John Pradeep, a theatre-based life coach. John Pradeep, a vibrant person, is the Dean of IVAM's Happy Cow. He has 10 years of experience in theatre and has worked with schools, colleges, and corporates on mimes, street plays, skits, and one-act plays. He is also a member of Passion Play International, an American Theatre Association, and World Clown Association. Currently, he is a performance arts-based behavioral skills trainer at Training Sideways, an IVAM venture. He has trained over 10,000 children and adults. We are looking forward to learn from you, sir. Over to Mr. John Pradeep.
Okay, sorry, I didn't unmute myself. Okay, so this is okay. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. I've been sitting through all the talks. Very, very useful. Good morning, Mr. Sam Abraham. Good morning. It was nice listening to all the speakers also. And let me quickly start. This is the last session. I was hoping that I have at least some audience staying back, because 350 people were there and some 100 people I think dropped out. I'm going to make this as useful as possible. Okay, so I am this theater fellow, so I am used to speaking at auditoriums. I am used to have interactive talks and all that. So right now, if there's no point in you seeing my face, go to the chat box, keep chatting with me there. Okay, keep sending chats, and that is how I keep it interactive, and that is the key, I think, to learn online also. Okay, so I'll let me quickly start with asking you all one question. Okay, so how is your day going? One answer in the chat. How is your day going? Or what do you feel like? Like put one animal's name in the chat, saying, I feel like this animal, like as joyous as a butterfly, as fierce as a lion, or something like that. Yeah, somebody feels like a dragon. Somebody feels great, outstanding. I feel like a lion. You feel like a panda. That's nice. Squirrel. Okay, so see, this is what happens with arts. Okay, so with arts, we are prone to appreciation. If there is no appreciation, if there is no feedback coming from the audience, I will get stuck. I will stay here waiting. Oh my God, what am I doing? Why is everybody staring at me like this? Or why is everybody's video off? Okay, so this is what started. This is what, yeah, you can turn your videos on also. I would like to see all of your faces. It'll be nice. In an auditorium, we turn, like we put dark light on everybody. We keep ourselves lit. So we are seen, but here I'm missing that a lot. I want to see people's faces and all of this. Okay, so I would like I would love to hear from all of you also, but Zoom unfortunately does not support everybody talking at a time, but we'll open it up in some time. Okay, so I'm hoping there are teachers here, upcoming teachers, future teachers, and some parents also from the questions that were asked to the previous speakers. So I'll quickly start with who I am, what I do, and why am I here. Okay, so this is I've been a theater-based trainer for a long time. So I do puppetry, I do shadow theater, I do all of these shadow theater, mime, clowning. I'm a clown also. And all of these things, I started off as a performer who is very passionate about theater and want to go and perform in places and all that. But later on, I figured saying my knowledge is about theater, but my interest is much about parenting and children and how I get children to learn better, be better human beings and all that. So what I do is I use these art forms to help children be better people in whatever form that is. So I do leadership through theater, I do socio-emotional skills through theater, and we use all of these art forms also. So this story starts from maybe March 24 when the first lockdown was announced, I think. I was actually like at a delivery in Vellore because in 3 days we were having our annual day performance in that school there. We were practicing night at the museum, excitement, right? Like full, all animals and setup and everything set up, and the annual day got cancelled. And I was coming back and I was supposed to go to Ahmedabad International School to start off with their summer camp there. And our summer camp was completely packed. So I come there and they say 2 days of lockdown, we can't do anything. And then that 2 days became, I think, a week, and then it became 13 more days and 21 more days. And there it was. Are completely packed, and the summer camp was gone. I was supposed to travel to Hyderabad, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, everything was gone. So 3 days into lockdown, I was sitting at home, engaging my child, like playing with her, making sure I'm being a good parent and all that. I felt bored. I thought, okay, so what do we do now? And I told my team saying, let's put out one information saying we're doing online classes. We'll figure it out. And our first class, I still have the recording, was a mess because I didn't know where the mute all button is. I was like, children, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. And everybody says, sir, I want to talk. I want to tell you something. So then we slowly started learning but we kept doing these things. And when I found there is a button where I can mute all the participants in the class, I was like, oh my God, this is there. So my conversation changed from children keep quiet to the children, I am going to mute you all because you're being too noisy. So you see, I had throat problem and everything going, children, I need your attention. Can I see you? Nothing. Right now I say, children, I'm going to mute you all. Ta-dang. That happens. Yeah, so that's the shift that happened from being offline to online. And I think from there on, I had at least one delivery every day. So we taught a lot of things to various children. Sorry. Our first surprise was when a child from Luxembourg joined our program. And I had to go and Google where Luxembourg is. I didn't even know. So all of these things now, like if previously our classes happened across India, but if we put up a class, our worries about how do we cover the children in that area, like Kodambakkam, can I get at least 15 children from there? From there, it has gone to right now, children from anywhere in the world, can join the program, and they are joining and they're doing it. So that's how this transformation has happened. Okay, so that's the first, like, and so the next challenge that we had was to train our faculties. We had a faculty team of 9 people. I told them, hey, come join my training, like while I do watch, and some 5 faculties ran away saying, I'm not going to do this. So our challenge there was to train them, saying it's just very easy, it's not very difficult. And then we had to train our faculties first. And then from there evolved our product, where we are right now going to schools, not going to schools, zooming into schools and training their teachers to make their classes very interesting. And so that's the second thing that happened, where from training children, we went off to training teachers, because that gap we saw where teachers were struggling with delivering it online effectively, keeping it interesting, what do you do and all that. So we have started doing that, making classroom fun, making classroom interactive, how you do that and all that. So that was our second big leap, I would say. And then third was very interesting, where we realized saying parents are actually sitting behind the children there, behind the laptop, and they're watching us constantly. And all these teachers who are slightly having issues with their English, or bad-tempered teachers, are all getting fired because parents are going to school and complaining, saying, I don't like that teacher, fire that teacher. And so we had to conduct parent orientation sessions and say, parents, this is how it has been in the classes all these days. You were happy, children were happy, all of these things went well. Just because it's happening right in front of you, that doesn't mean that it's going bad or anything. That she was the teacher for your child last 3 years, and your child was doing good with that subject and all that. So just like there's a reason why a relative is not allowed into a operation theater when an operation is happening, or there's a reason why a teacher is not allowed into a classroom while the class is happening, because all these things are happening there. And so that was another thing where we did a series of workshops for parents, and parents about just telling them, saying it's okay, because there was one session where whenever I unmute everybody, there was one child who was getting abused by the parent. They're saying, why are you sitting like this? Can't you see everybody's looking at you? Sit straight, don't yawn, don't do this, sit like that. So that parent was sitting constantly comparing, saying, see, he said the answer, why can't you say the same answer? So that was happening. A lot of that was happening during the initial days of our education also. So that also happened. So from what we were doing with multiple teachers, going to multiple places, traveling and doing and all that, our geographies disappeared, our travels disappeared. We were traveling a lot, and so all of these disappeared, and we got a lot of time in hand. And you know how this time helped us? Time helped us with ourselves, putting ourselves out there, and having our online presence, which is the key for all of us. And so that way, I don't know if me being invited to Kodaikanal Christian College right now is also the fruit of that, I think, where everybody knew that somebody like this exists, somebody like this does all of these things, where one thing that I did was to tell stories to children every night at 9 o'clock on YouTube. And so that had its own community of children listening to these stories every day, contacting me, telling me about things that are happening. Like I had children calling and saying, uncle, I'm having a headache. What do I do? I don't know. I can only tell stories. So very close community of children, all that. So that happened. I'm still telling stories. I don't know where to stop. I'm at 160th episode, I think, from yesterday. So that's been happening. But also with parents being there in the class, one very good thing happened for us in the class, where the school had limited budget, and they said, can you do 5 classes for us, please? I said, okay, I'll do 5 classes. So end of 5th class, I tell them saying, hey, from next week, I will not be coming. And parents go to school saying, sir, ma'am, what that? He was the only teacher who was connecting so much with our children. Can you please extend him for the year? And the school owner calls me saying, sir, can you come down on your price a little so we can keep you for the year? So that happened. So these are the advantages that we had with respect to online delivery assets. So when it comes to I connect a lot with the other teachers that are doing this also. I connect a lot with the teachers who are teaching math and science and all of this also. Similar, I think I had a lot to talk about that, but the previous speakers spoke a lot in detail about that. Sync classes, the things that you can do in class, non-sync classes where that you can give out to the children, get orientation to schools to show them this is possible. Because some schools are still not convincing. How do you teach theater online? So I was telling the same some 4 months back, and some 4 days of lockdown, and I figured a way to teach it out. So I say, we as human beings will survive wherever, like if together. And that when that happened, I said, oh my God, human beings are great. Like, we might be the dangerous species on earth, but we can figure out a way to live in whatever way. I think I'll close with that there, and I can take questions on chat if you guys have. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I think I added some value to what we are doing. Thank you. Oh, comments are coming in. Okay, so contact info somebody's asking for. You can, so this is another thing that happened.
Thank you very much, sir.
1 minute, Jennifer. So this I'll tell this alone. This is another thing that happened to me during the COVID times. Always I was thinking about how do I tell everybody that I'm available online. I didn't have any time. I was traveling and everything. Because I did this bedtime stories and my online presence and everything, I have become Googleable now. So if you search for John Pradeep JL, you will get all my contact details, my website, to all my social media. So that's I think another advantage of staying in my bedroom and doing this session right now for you. So that's my contact. You can go Google John Pradeep JL. Please add JL, because if you don't add JL, you will get 2 other people who are really famous with the same name. Okay, thank you. Jennifer. Any questions? Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. We are pretty sure all your classes would be as interesting as your talk.
Thank you. So I was asked to finish it in 10 minutes, so I quickly wrapped everything up together. If you have any questions, you can ask school heads, school teachers, parents, if you have any questions.
We enjoy listening to you, and we must say you passed on your energy to us, the listeners. You helped us understand the changes, especially the positive ones that this pandemic has brought into education. And you've got very good comments, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Thanks.
Has anyone got questions? Please. I think everybody is talking about your energy, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm missing. I'm like, ask some question. Okay, I hope there's no questions. Okay, done. Thank you so much. Thanks, Clarin, for coordinating everything. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks to all the teachers. Thanks, Pinky, for inviting me.
I think everybody is talking about your energy. Please comment it. You can put.
Excuse me.
Sure. Thank you. What better thing there is than gratitude? I'm delighted. What better thing there is than gratitude? I'm delighted to welcome Ms. Pinky, Assistant Professor, Social Work Department, and the convener of today's Webonference to propose the vote of thanks to mark the end of the morning session. Over.
Honorable Chairman, sir, respected Vice Principal, and respected Associate Professor, our most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The best and the beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such prayer among them. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Department of English and Department of Social Work, Kodaikanal Christian College. At first, I thank all the dignitaries who have virtually witnessed it as a memorable and successful Webonference. A big thank you to our keynote speaker, Dr. Nandita Krishna, for her efforts towards online education, who graced us with her thought-provoking address. It set a perfect platform for our college. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Jer and Jenny for their explanation on online education in US. Further, we are grateful to Ms. Pratibha Kratampari for giving us the knowledge on online education in Nepal. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. I.P. Varghese for always supporting us and for giving us an excellent coverage on online education in Kerala. I also wish to express my gratitude to Ms. Vinita for providing encouragement and meticulously giving us the knowledge on government effects on online education in Tamil Nadu. I am also very grateful to Mr. John for his enthusiastic, energetic, and vibrant delivery on online education and art forms. And we also like to thank and acknowledge and grateful to all the participants from all across the world. I would like to thank our beloved principal and chairman, sir, for all the words of wisdom that radiate a source of energy within us. We will ever remain grateful to you, and we are thank you for being with us today. Heartfelt thanks goes to our respected Vice Principal, Dr. Ragnathan, and respected associate members and our technical team. And by us, guide us, reporting us on all the events and especially in this Webonference. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. A wheel started rolling months in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be backed up by the team of very motivated and dedicated student committees and volunteers. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they have been shown and the willingness they have expressed to complete the task beyond their comfort zones. Honorable Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to state that we are most grateful to all the speakers on this virtual stage. When I say virtual stage, yes, we are so grateful for our college who gave us the wisdom and support to make this day virtually successful. Last but not least, I thank all the students for showing their interest in this Webonference. Once again, thank you so much, all of you who assembled here virtually. Thank you so much.
As we come to the end of the morning session, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the Webonference today. And we thank all the dignitaries who came and graced our Webonference. But you know what? We are just beginning. It is not over yet. We have so many events planned for you today in the afternoon session, and we welcome everyone to come and attend it. We have paper presentations, we have the educational events, we have a special talk from Mr. Seshagiri from UNICEF. So do not miss all this. And we will be dispersing for our lunch break now. And we will be back at 1:40 p.m. for the second session today. We have panel discussions and educational events, and a very special address waiting for you. So see you soon. Thank you. And session dismissed. We will come back at 1:40 p.m. Thank you. The feedback forms will be issued only after the evening second session. So please be back. Thank you.